Hey friends, this week we are going to be reviewing final stable syllables in Saxon. So all of your choice board activities will work with final stable syllables. And we have quite a few of them, so I wanted to go over them just to review them a little bit and talk about some things about final stable syllables. So first of all, let's talk about the words final stable syllables. So what is a final stable syllable? Well, final, this word, means it comes where on the word? That's right, on the end. Final means end. So final stable syllables come at the end of the word. What does the word stable mean? That's right, it means they don't change. So when you hear that sound at the end of a word, it's going to be using these patterns to make that sound. And then, of course, the word syllable means it adds a word chunk, a word part at the end of the word. So all of these add a syllable to the end of a word. Now, I listed all of our final stable syllables. We have BLE, bull, CLE, cul, DLE, dull, FLE, full, GLE, gull, KLE, cool, PLE, pull, SLE, sol, TLE, toll, and ZLE, zol. So when you hear those sounds on the end of a word, you're going to be using a final stable syllable pattern to make that sound. Now I also went ahead and coded all of my final stable syllables. So who remembers how to code a final stable syllable? That's right, you put a bracket around it, which is this symbol right here on all of my final stable syllables. Sometimes we also call it a half box. Either one would be fine. So we do that to show that it is a syllable on the word. We kind of want to separate it from the rest of the word to show that it is a syllable. And then you'll notice the only other code I went ahead and added to my words was the vowel sound in the first part of the word. Now, some of them are long and some of them are short. How do we tell if it should be a long vowel or a short vowel? That's right. If the vowel is open and does not have a friend next to him, he's a long vowel, like in the word fable. This A is long because if we look here, there's no friend next to him. When we box off the final stable syllable, he is by himself, so he is open and long. But if we look at the next word, bubble, I know that U is short because when I box off my BLE, he still has a consonant friend next to him, so he must be short. So that word is bubble with a short U. So you'll notice on all of my examples, if the vowel has a consonant friend next to him, he's short. If he doesn't have a consonant friend next to him, he's long. Now, it might be kind of easy to tell when you're reading words because you might be familiar with the words, whether it's a long vowel or a short vowel. But why is it so important to know that rule when we're talking about final stable syllables? Why is it so important to know that a long vowel will be open with no friend next to him, and a short vowel will have a consonant friend? Why do we need to know that? That's right. So when we spell the words, we spell them correctly. So let's go back to our first examples, fable and bubble. Now, if someone said, write the word fable, and I sounded it out, but I accidentally added a B right here after the A, so it was F-A-B-B-L-E, what would my word become? That's right, my word would become fable. And that's not my word. My word is fable. So I need to make sure I leave him alone. I don't want to put a friend next to him. But On bubble, I hear a short vowel, bull. So when I spell that word, I have to make sure I put a friend next to that vowel and double that consonant. Otherwise, what would that word be if I forgot to put that other B on the word? That's right, that word would be bugle, and that's not the word I'm trying to write. So I have to make sure I add that consonant friend next to that vowel to make him short. So that's why it's so important to know that rule when you're using final stable syllables. So when you spell your words, you make sure words with long vowels have long vowel sounds and words with short vowels have short vowel sounds. All right, friends, I actually just noticed one more code that I forgot to put on my words. And I bet some of you were saying, Miss McWhinney, you forgot one code. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my red marker. What code is it that I forgot? That's right, on final stable syllable words, the final stable syllable, E, gets crossed out because we don't hear him, he's just there to help. Now remember, I said on these words, I was only coding the final stable syllable part of the word. So of course, a lot of these words have other codes, maybe like K-back C's or blends, but I didn't code those part because I really wanted you to focus on just the final stable syllable part of the word and the vowel sound of the word. But I did need to include that E crossed out because that is part of the final stable syllable code. Okay? Now, there's one extra final stable syllable that isn't one of the LE final stable syllables. Do you remember what that one is? That's right. He's the T-I-O-N final stable syllable. I'm going to add him right here in the middle because he's kind of special. And just like our LE final stable syllables, he also gets a bracket or a half box to show that he is a final stable syllable. And again, he is a final stable syllable for the same reasons, even though he has a different pattern. He comes at the end of a word. When you hear shun on the end of a word, it's always going to be this pattern, T-I-O-N. And it adds a syllable to the word. So he is a final stable syllable. He just isn't an LE final stable syllable like all of the other ones. So we have to remember him too when we know final stable syllables. So when you hear a word like caution or station or portion, that shun sound, even though it sounds like S-H-U-N, is going to be this T-I-O-N final stable syllable. So he is a really, really important one to know and remember so that when you hear those words, even though it sounds totally different, it's going to be that pattern because he is a final stable syllable. He's not changing. That sound is going to be spelled with a T-I-O-N. All right, friends, now go ahead and get started on your choice board activities with your final stable syllables.